Jetpack Joyride has remained a staple in gaming for years at this point, and throughout all this time, an incoherent and overall absurd story has been created that almost nobody has seemed to recognize. So let's take a look at what to make of the funny Jetpack game. Hi everybody, I'm here at the mall. I love products. I love to consume products. I'm gonna consume so many products and buy so many things. The only thing more important than my blood flowing is money flowing in the economy. Nah, I'm just kidding, I'm loitering so I can steal handbags from old ladies, not a big deal. So Jetpack Joyride has always stuck in my mind for a few reasons. Fun enough game, a good main theme, and a main character who we're gonna follow and grow real accustomed to real quick. Jetpack Joyride follows Barry McStinkington Friesenhausen, better known as just Barry Steakfries. This is an Australian anti-hero with a lower intelligence and zero respect for his own life. The Jetpack Joyride saga starts on September 1st, 2011, with the game of the same name. Initially, Barry was a gramophone salesman. I'm sure a lot of you don't know what a gramophone is, so yeah, obviously sales aren't too high. One of his stops of the day is Legitimate Research Labs, and this is where he spots the ever-iconic jetpack. And then he thinks about how life could be, how his entire life could just be perfect with this jetpack. So immediately, somehow, he barges through the concrete wall. Holy shit, he's strong. He nabs the jetpack to go on a joyride. From this point on, he runs through the labs, causing chaos along the way, and the labs are long, practically an endless hallway. He keeps running through it. No reason to stop. He just keeps going. Then at some point every day, he gets lasered or rocketed, or sometimes escapes with the jetpack. But this jetpack uses bullets as fuel. And not only is that extremely fatal for all the scientists down below, but he also eventually will run out of ammo to shoot. So every day there's another jetpack waiting for him, meaning that every single day he walks to the lab, breaks in again, and once again steals this jetpack with all the new fuel and goes on some other wacky adventures. Rinse and repeat. He's been doing this for years. There's not much of an incentive otherwise. This is simply a harbinger of chaos who found an infinite jetpack glitch. I don't know why the iconic jetpack backpack shoots bullets and somehow Barry's legs never get hurt in any way, but maybe someday I can go on a jetpack joyride myself and live my dreams as Barry. Now this is Professor Brains. He's also named Barry and is the owner of the Legitimate Research Labs, which is also owned by the Really Bad Corporation. And this is a league of overall just not very good people in my humble opinion. It's safe to assume that on any day where Barry is not directly showing it, Barry spends his years breaking the same wall every day, rampaging down the labs until he physically cannot. I'm pretty sure he's doing it out of spite. His belief system is that destruction, stealing, war crimes, all that is allowed to be done on people or things he considers morally wrong. However, the scientists themselves, you know, just the random guys working here, outside of the casualties, they have a pretty nice relationship with Barry. The scientists make all these gadgets and Barry steals most of them, and obviously a few of the scientists are upset about that, but a majority of them are okay with it. Like one scientist made the Prophet Bird to be an ATM for tall people, he made the Dragon for welding and repairing planes mid-flight, and the robot dog Flash for being a dog, and Barry takes all of those away just because he can. He sees it as property of the lab and wants to steal it because he doesn't trust the lab. Some of the other gadgets stolen included the air berries, shoes meant specifically for jumping high, and the strong arm machine, more commonly known as just Sam, because one of the scientists wanted more high fives. It's a complicated relationship, but you know what? It works. At one point in one of the shorts, because they're shorts, you know, it's a mobile game, of course there's gonna be shorts, he befriends a specific scientist that he names Craig. These are a collection of mini cartoons going through some of Barry's antics. For example, one Christmas, specifically in 2015, he becomes a substitute for Santa, and both of them are like 6 out of 10 Santas, by the way. They're just very average. Barry accidentally gives the main one a seizure and nearly ruins the holiday, but he doesn't. Instead, he just ruins at least one wall per every household, because the chimneys were too small, I guess. I don't know. This is unnecessary. Another time, we learned that he's got a serious problem with ripping off his shirt sleeves whenever anything happens. He was exposed to it at a young age. It becomes second nature. It's actually quite sad how few measures are taken against exposure to ripping off shirt sleeves at a young age. Also, do you know how hard it is to rip your sleeves off of a suit like this? These moments give me a good idea of the type of person Barry is. He is a chaotic but typically good person, justifying what many of us would consider immoral with his simplified logic on harming bad things equals okay. That's very very much what made him become a hero, his rash actions without hesitation that led him into getting the jetpack in the first place. At the same time, he's just like any one of us. He has goals, serious procrastination problems, and time management skills, loves high fives, and likes movies. He's been shown watching Karate Kid and Rocky 4, and when given the chance to play Marty in a Back to the Future remake that I really hope I didn't speak into existence, Barry goes a little nuts trying to take over the role of Marty in this story. I'm sure we'll find out why Barry likes Back to the Future someday, probably for a wholesome reason. So next up is August 29th, 2019. The main collection of Jetpack Joyride shorts with a narrative technically overarching. Like there's not a major story being told, but these are episodic adventures that are in order. After 8 years of going through legitimate research, failing every other aspect of his life, falling into severe debt from his shirt sleeve fees, and being entirely unsuccessful within his love life, assuming you don't count jetpacks, which I feel like that's more of a friends with benefits thing. One day, he does, in fact, finish the endless run. He gets to the end. The laboratory runs out of horizontalness, and he makes it to the stairs leading to the second floor. It's something that Barry never even reached or knew about. It's nothing. Just a bad ending. It gives Barry severe depression, and from here he befriends Craig and develops a fear of endings. It truly is the end of the line. And at a bar with Craig, he discovers the Really Bad Corp, where Professor Brains and the other members have all crafted really long hallways as their lairs. All of them did this for some reason, giving Barry a new purpose to reach all of those hallways. He gets a long, hard longing for the long, and he doesn't pursue this for years. And then the leader, Glorabax, that's a horrible name. He doesn't take all this new information too well, so in episode 2, he shuts down Brain's operation, and in response, he crushes the dude with a 100-ton weight and takes over Really Bad Corp. He then explodes. In episode 3, Brains watches the first half of the Sonic OVA movie. He thinks Metal Sonic is cool and awesome and badass and gunk. He is. So he makes Robo Barry, that is programmed to be exactly like Barry, but evil. And this also fails. Nothing it actually goes against him. It backfires. They become friends, and Robo Barry sacrifices himself for his new fleshy clone friend. It's really sad. And then in episode 4, Barry wants a rainbow jetpack. He then ruins it when he forgot to buy the necessary battery packs sold separately. And also, one of the other Really Bad Corp villains, the Miner Tar, no, not the other kind, like a dig miner, operates under the labs. I'm sure he's quite lovely. And that's Jetpack Joyride, but not the end of Barry. He's the mascot of Halfbrick Studios, meaning that every game he's in is in fact canon to this one. In order for me to count it, it just has to have Barry make an official appearance. Along with that, we got some sequels, and all of them besides Jetpack Joyride 2 are not sequels in gameplay, but in story. First up, we got Monster Dash, taking anywhere after Jetpack Joyride, so somewhere between September 2nd, 2011 to the heat death of the universe. It doesn't really matter. By the way, this is a time travel story now? Always time travel or multiverse, one or the other, always minimum. And always gonna end up like this. It never ends. Trust me. Barry finds himself in spooky places, and now without a jetpack, he's gotta run on over and get to the professor. Surprisingly, this is very similar to Barry's lab raids. It's just that this time he's not slaughtering what I would consider innocent-ish scientists, instead opting for monsters terrorizing the public. He also becomes a Ghostbuster for a little bit, but not like an actor, just like a legitimate Ghostbuster. At some point, this monster invasion will expand to a zombie one across the timeline, leading to the Age of Zombies. And since this is a time travel zombie game, time points don't really matter. First off, I don't like how Barry looks. He looks like an expired steak fry, and I really gotta stress this again. This is another time travel adventure with the professor sending out zombies to plenty of eras. And I love time travel. I love me some going to other eras. Woohoo! Time travel has never been done before. It'll never happen again. The main concern with the zombies is them infecting the populations. Like, if someone from 500 years ago gets infected by a zombie, potentially hundreds of modern-day people will cease to exist. And obviously, I think that's probably a bad thing, but it also might not be, because if they cease to exist, no one would remember them or their contributions to the world, and actually, Professor Brains could accidentally ruin his own bloodline, or just time travel and strangle baby Barry. This is too much. I don't care anymore. Right as he starts, Barry will join forces with Abraham Lincoln. No gimmicks. Former president of the United States is also here to help Barry with this adventure specifically. In order, Barry goes to prehistoric times and fights a zombie T-Rex that Barry essentially adopts in later adventures. Then he goes to the 1930s where he destroys an infected mafia. Ancient Egypt, he meets Prince Runningham, who will give Barry some sort of reward once he saves the day. Then he goes to Japan and fights zombie samurai. This feels like something an 11-year-old came up with. But in the end, Barry returns to the future. Professor Brains has been fusing zombies with modern technology, like you do. I can't even make a comparison. What the hell even is this? Then he dies. As a reward, Barry receives immortality, and this is the face of a man who cannot die. Not Abraham Lincoln, though. He would decline the offer of immortality and return home for a lovely evening with his wife at the ever-iconic Ford's Theater. And nothing bad will happen. Oh, also, there's like a Wild West DLC. Barry temporarily has to real quick save a small town, and it ends with Barry meeting a woman who not only looks like she's related to him, but shares the same name as his grandmother. And then, after this revelation, she takes Barry home and then they play Trivial Pursuit together. I understand why Barry likes Back to the Future now. So this is where things get a little silly, a little goofy, some giggles and laughs, and I'm not hyping it up. There is a multiverse. Are you honestly shocked, though? Barry Steakfries is a big mascot of a parent company, Halfbrick Studios, and as such, any game where he exists is therefore canon. One of the most prominent Barry-adjacent things is the Barry Vlogs. There's over 100 of these things, and they're kinda neat. Barry spends 8 to 10 minutes answering questions, promoting things happening in the games, announcing updates, stuff like that. He also looks like an owl, which are one of the scariest animals. I don't care what you think or say. These things horrify me, and I hope they upset you as well. Why does he look like a provoked chimp? Now, I got a few takeaways from these. Like, did you know that TMNT and Metal Slug, of all things, crossed over? When Smash Bros. Ultimate was doing their DLC packs, Barry made an entire episode asking to be in the game. Simultaneously, that's really funny, but also hate to break it to you guys at home, but Barry deserves a spot more than like a quarter of the roster. It's been 10 years. Genuinely, who asked for corn? Perhaps one of the most important reveals is his ongoing rivalry with the other major Halfbrick mascot, Dan the Man. Not with the Fruit Ninja because they own Fruit Ninja, or the Blob because they worked on the Blob 2. This ginger freak. On October 6, 2016, Dan the Man happens. I'm gonna be so honest, this is a beat-em-up platformer with its own stories, own characters, own franchise. I do not want to talk about it at all. And you guys gotta understand that I contemplated it. I spun the choopo bias wheel and everything. I don't wanna. Try to stop me. I don't care. Don't really care for it, especially right now. Just for now, with the context and shit. Dan is, in fact, the man. Until Barry shows up, they're rivals, probably competing for the position of Halfbrick's primary mascot, which is ridiculous when you consider the Fruit Ninja is also there, and in my opinion, better. Why are you fighting a toddler when their steroids-riddled father is standing right there? There's a better candidate for everything. At some point across Age of Zombies, Barry and Dan will team up. Professor Brains warps himself and Barry, so in my humble thicket of an opinion, that's no good. He has to die again. And for some reason, the scientists fight back now. I don't think it matters, though. These two are equally unhinged. The only difference is that one of them looks like a frightened pug. Another game we got is Rascals. This is Rascals. The living skulls have a pirate problem. Cute pun, still a problem. They invade while looking for a cheese planet that they think is the Rascal planet. Then they run out of fuel, and the Rascal King decides to hold a tournament to find out who stole the MacGuffin thingies that are their magic. The cheese they thought was on this planet, it was lava, by the way. I don't even know what this game is, but it's done now. And Barry is also here. He's in the multiplayer. Okay, next thing. But we got Star Skater, sort of ugly game, very lovely everything else. They made him a cube. Oh, yep. This is the face of a man of endless ambitions. There's a couple crossovers as well. I don't think they matter all too much, but Barry's in them. So, yeah, let's just graze through them all. We got Magic Brick Wars and Battle Racing Stars. These are like the all-stars of all the Halfbrick properties combining and fighting. Jetpack Joyride sure is here. Horrifying in 3D, I might add. And time out for a second. I'm gonna be so honest. Barry and Jetpack Joyride as a whole really feels like the people behind the scenes are trying to make him like this massive character. Like, it's one thing to have him be in these crossover cameos. That's like an expectation for all mobile game franchises. But when I look at things like the vlogs and everything correlating to it, it feels a bit desperate. Like just a tad. When I look at these videos, I can't help but feel a smidge of pity. It feels like Barry himself is begging for all of us to love him. It's him fishing for compliments, asking for Q&A topics, asking to be recognized as an icon in Smash Brothers. Like he knows how iconic he is, but struggles to be any greater. It's almost bad as Angry Birds last time I checked, but only one of them has an entire empire and an official Roblox server. I wince when I see Barry do stuff like this, because I imagine trying to justify my existence and hoping to move up in the world. I look at Barry Steakfries' Jetpack Joyride and I see a reflection of myself. but that's not of concern, not to you, stupid child who already commented on this video asking me to cover something I don't hold a flake of interest in. Instead, let's mosey on over and look at the modernmost point in this series. Did you know that there's comics? I say comics as a plural, but very hesitantly. There is a single issue and then like 2 short stories. This hardly counts as a series. The short stories are really just about Barry swapping out his jetpacks. They run out of fuel as the scientists are kind enough to provide him with new ones, like you do. And then we got another single comic thing that'll amount to another silly serialized antic adventure that we've become accustomed to. Before we cover it, I really need to let you know that I already hate this thing. I found out I could get it for free, and so when the Google results claimed it was a free PDF, I then spent like 2 hours trying to download it. But honestly, I have no idea if I was stupid or something, but I couldn't download it. I couldn't even pirate it if I wanted to. Literally nobody cared about this thing existing. There is not a single digital copy online that is just pirated. Or on a YouTube video or anything. It was too much work for too little of a thing. I despised the cubic man grimacing with delight. So one day Barry does his normal jetpack theft. This time he goes through glass, so already something's up. Turns out the scientists made a teleporter, sending Barry to a fish world. And as a bonus, they accidentally warped a coworker they all don't like. Woohoo! Manslaughter. So Barry ends up in the fish world, cleverly named Water, as the king invites Barry to compete in a race where the winner gets a spaceship that will take him home with no problem. It's also revealed here by the scientist that was also dropped here that most of their memories get erased when they get a job at the labs. Why would you work there? How many genius level scientists are okay with their memories being erased? It doesn't really matter. Barry meets a fish named 17 who reveals the race has flying sharks. And that's not a good thing. We're gonna have to make sure that shark thing doesn't really, So the scientist lady installs a shark-proof app on the jetpack. Don't know how that works. 17 dies, rest in peace, talking fish I introduced 15 seconds ago, and they make it back. Where the useless-ish lady reveals that she's a corrupt scientist and a lawyer, suing Barry for $53 million. I love the effort, love the heart there, but you are out of your goddamn mind if you think this creature's gonna be anywhere near a courtroom voluntarily. And then we got Jetpack Joyride 2 on August 19th of 2022. This is a genuinely good continuation of the story. All the villains from the league at the start have their own endless hallways, so Barry's gonna go through each base and take down each respective member of Really Bad Corp, including the Minotaur. He's back. There's even a few scientists finally deciding to fight back for real, using their minds, the weapon they have. They fail, but we love the effort. And on the hero's side, there's even more friends. Flash is still here, Craig is acting as a guide, Robo Barry is somehow alive, and we like Robo Barry, this is a good thing. And then there's Betty Beef Pies, who is an alternate Barry from another part of the multiverse. I can't even be mad at the idea of a multiverse, just everyone's doing it intentionally or an accident. Yeah, damn. There are 3 things that are guaranteed in life: death, being sad as you watch your parents get older and regret not appreciating them more, and the inevitable inclusion of a multiverse in a franchise that is designed for dumb baby children. It would be 4, but taxes are optional. And that's honestly it. I can't be all too upset about this series. Like, it makes sense as a story, it's gonna keep adding more and more content, and actually we have an idea of what's coming next. Halfbrick Studios have already confirmed there's gonna be a full animated series online. I was considering delaying this indefinitely until it released, but I mean, you made it this far. I feel like you can tell I didn't. Go support Barry when this releases, it would mean a lot to him. He needs the love, guys. And then we got Age of Zombies 2. Apparently this is under testing right now, but it is in fact happening. Based on what's been shown off, this is gonna be another 3D adventure, which I for one am concerned for. If there's anything that scares me more than 2D Barry, it's gotta be 3D Barry. It looks scarier than the Geico Gecko. By the way, based on the Geico commercial, either Barry is unfathomably short or the gecko is horrifyingly tall. I am fearful of both. I don't want the jetpack guy crawling up my leg, and I don't want the gecko to help me move into a studio apartment. Now, plot-wise, I have a vague idea of what to expect. I held off sharing this fun fact, but at the end of Age of Zombies, Professor Brains actually discovers that he's not real. Yep! C-list video game character Professor Brains is a fictional character, and he knows it. So rather than embrace nihilism and accept how futile his existence is as a bundle of coding, he actually remains composed from his hard-earned indomitable human spirit, and then decides to invade other games and take them over. So rather than give up on what could be considered a meaningless existence, the professor is going to pursue his evil dreams across other worlds, whether or not Barry wants to be a part of it. And, spoilers, he's perfectly fine with going to other worlds. Friendly Friendly reminder, Barry is still immortal, and unfortunately there is a non-zero chance Barry Steakfries is going to find you. Oakley dokley do, it's time for me to say goodbye to you. Guilt statistic, use my gamersubs code, it's choopo, C-H-O-O-P-O. I don't know how people mispronounce it or misspell it. And like Professor Brains, don't be a nihilist. Life is what you make of it. So, you know, make something of it. Well guys, I was too lazy to animate me buying or finding this jetpack in a creative way, but I'm gonna do the thing now. I'm truly gonna go on a jetpack joyride.